So let's talk about mentalism and what does it actually mean. You have a history in magic for 2 decades, 3 decades.
Yeah, about 25 years now.
I know a lot of people when they went to university, they work as waiters. I work with one in the restaurant, but you apparently work in a restaurant, but instead of serving food, you were telling people their future.
Right. I was the walk around mind reader, and I was kind of the secret weapon if there was ever any problem in the kitchen and their order they forgot to put it in, or it got dropped on the floor and there was a huge delay. They would send me to the table to entertain them, and then I'd take 10, 15 minutes having fun with the table. They don't even know that 15 minutes went by and that their food is late. Then the food would show up and be like, "Oh, well, your food's here. See you later." And they go, "Oh no, come back." So it was kind of a fun tool that the restaurant could use. Otherwise, I was just kind of an atmosphere and to entertain guests, to give them something different than staring at their phone or being bored. It was just kind of a cool, like, oh, this restaurant has a mind reader there, and then they'd bring their friends, and I kind of
So
had
did you
a
do
loyal
tricks
following.
like with the cards, or you actually was doing mentalism tricks? Just give us some example.
Well, the restaurant would have an urn full of forks and silverware there on the table so that the servers could turn it around really quickly. And I would ask them, the person sitting at the table, to hand me any fork, and then I would make it bend with the power of my mind, or I would make it move with the power of my mind, or I'd tell them what street they grew up on. All that kind of fun stuff.
So we all watch Matrix. So we remember the spoon. There's no spoon. It was before
Exactly.
Matrix or after Matrix?
It was just a little bit after, because this was in 2005, so Matrix was about 6 years old by then. So yeah, it was definitely after.
So what you can share about mentalism, why it's important in an era where we all need to communicate with each other as well. I'm wondering.
Well, I don't have any supernatural powers. I'm not genuinely psychic. It's
Hmm. I
all
guess we're done with the
tricks.
show because I was hoping you tell me you do have one.
Right, we're out. We're done. We're done. So basically, I say a mentalist is a type of magician that has specialized in mind reading tricks. But they are tricks. It's all applied psychology, showmanship, and moxie. You put that into the blender, and then you get me. And anytime that you're communicating, you're trying to understand how does that person understand the world, so that I can present my case in a way that they will understand and buy into, so that I can be more influential and effective in my job, in my relationship, whatever. So we're all trying to influence everybody, but few people understand the system that they're trying to influence. So if you don't understand how a system works, then there's no chance in the world that you're going to be effective. So I often explain that mentalism is kind of like becoming a system administrator when most people are horrible users of a computer, right? Because most people don't even understand keyboard shortcuts. So they always have to go up to file and click and then save it, right? Instead of control S. So keyboard shortcuts is a great hack, but that's very low level. But then if you know how to run command line and how to install and run Linux and to manage an entire network, you can make that system do things that a regular user would say is magic. So it's exactly the same process of how people interact with reality. If you understand how that process works, you can hack it to make things happen that a regular person interprets as impossible.
I'm guessing in this case is if you need to understand how people react to what we say and understand different types of people, then it's easier for us to communicate with people, to create rapport with people. We're not always saying that we need to lie to them or say something or force them to do something we don't want them to do. I think we're talking about communication on I want you to understand what I'm trying to deliver to you in an
Right.
easier way.
Right. The more languages you speak, the more relationships you could have. The easier time you'll have being understood by more people. So the people who think that influence is a bad word are kind of like the people who say you need to speak my language or not at all. Well, you're severely limiting how many potential opportunities you can build because you now have fewer and fewer people that can understand you.
Is mentalism also a way not just to understand how people react with the environment, but also understand how people react to what do you say to them?
Absolutely. Because communication happens at multiple levels simultaneously. Because it's your body language, it's your tone of voice, it's your pace, how quickly you're speaking, the words that you're using, the place that you're doing it. Everything is a part of the message. So that's why the medium is the message. It is all those details and how you're managing them. That is what you're communicating, not just the words that you're using or their dictionary association, but it's the emotional content, it's the context of your previous relationship with this person or lack of relationship with that person. So it's everything that you're doing, saying, and not saying, where you're saying it, that creates the boundaries of what the meaning is that is communicated
It
to
almost
somebody
sounds
else.
like you need a law degree or doctorate degree to be able to learn all this. So for a person that never did this, how long may first of all, how long may take them, or where do they start, and how they learn from the mistake? I'm wondering. And I'm talking about you can be a salesperson, you could be a technician, you want to be a marketing person, or anybody that need to communicate with people. And lately, we're all communicating all the time over Zoom.
That is a really sharp question. And to me, one of the best training wheels is to learn a magic trick. Even a very, very simple magic trick, because it teaches you you have to do the right thing at the right time, you have to say the right thing at the right time, and you have to do both of those in the right way in order for there to be any kind of trick. So the effect is only there if you manage all those details properly. So learn a simple magic trick, and at first, nobody's going to be fooled. Nobody's going to be entertained. There's absolutely no magic to it whatsoever. But eventually, you'll learn how to make it an interesting puzzle that people go, okay, tell me how you did that. Like, what's the trick? What's the trick? And then the better you get at doing that trick, you're becoming a better communicator. And then once you've mastered that trick, you now understand what all goes into effective communication. And then that can be your training wheels.
I guess you have to put a link maybe later on to some of the simple tricks. Sounds like people when I may ask about about them later on.
Exactly. Yeah, I love walking people through that, and that's a big part of my training and consulting is walking audiences through that when I'm working with Fortune 500 companies and any kind of corporate client. That is a part of all the training that I do.
Johnny, thank you very much. We're definitely going to put a link to you new training. And I have a feeling we'll come back to learn more about marketing tips, maybe on a different day. It was a pleasure and happy to chat to you today.
Thanks for having me, man. I really appreciate it.